Vashon Holdings proudly presents Warwick Radio Chats with ring announcer Joseph Herron.
Guys, welcome. Happy Saturday evening to you guys. And oh boy, we just saw a spectacle end in controversy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And guys, tell you what, to help me chop this up and make sense of everything is, the longtime boxing analyst and one of the best fight scribes in the country, the incomparable Rodney Green. Rodney, how you doing, brother?
Yes, sir, man. Oh, my God. Whoa.
Talk about the theater of the unexpected, my friend.
We always preach that. You just never know.
Yep, you just never know. And I tell you what, brother, and you know what's funny? Our very dear friend, the editor-in-chief of FightSaga.com, Lee Cleveland, he said as much this past week. He said, you know what? Be careful, because Tyson Fury is one of those guys, a lot like Evander Holyfield, fought up and down to his level of competition. And the showman, well, just might not be as serious as he need be going into this fight. Sure did look that way now, didn't it?
Well, like the late, great Emmanuel Stewart always said, with heavyweights, it's like a whole different, it's a whole different fight, you know what I mean? Because anything can happen. But Fury didn't look like himself. He didn't look like he was prepared. And on the other hand, Ngannou, he seemed to be very sturdy, decent chin, and, showed his power and did enough to, really make it competitive and almost shock the world. So, as I said, testament to him. But that Fury right there wasn't the Fury that I expected, and probably so many others expected based on his previous or his last few fights, I should say.
Yes, indeed. I tell you what, though, we'll talk all more about that, guys. Let's talk about, hold on. Let's hear from our friend, Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Hey, we ain't ducking and dodging nobody. It's time for Fact or Fiction.
Thank you, Floyd. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Here's Fact or Fiction for you. Rodney. Fact or Fiction. Tyson Fury is still indeed the baddest man on the planet.
Man. You're only as good as your last performance, Joseph. And I'm going to have to say fiction because he didn't look like the Fury that I was accustomed to. Now, maybe he can redeem himself in his next fight or his next performance. But based on what I saw tonight, man, that doesn't scare too many heavyweights, top-tier heavyweights, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, guys, and once again, let's go through the action. You know what? Even in the outset, Tyson, boy, he did not. I'll be honest. This is a gentleman who looked like he prepared for maybe one day or 1 week heading into this fight. Now, Sugar Hill Stewart, and I mentioned this on your show, In Rod We Trust, every Wednesday. I mentioned that earlier this week that Sugar Hill said, well, we really don't know what we're looking at. We've never seen Fury or Tyson or Francis Ngannou. We've never seen him fight. There's no tape. There's no footage of him in a boxing ring with 10-ounce gloves. So we really don't know what to expect. We don't know if he's going to come right at Fury. We don't know if he's going to stay in the pocket and wait to try and counter effectively. We really don't know what to expect. These are the hardest fights to prepare for. Was he kind of foreshadowing an ominous forecast of things to come?
Possibly. If anybody knows, it's your trainer. As I said, they had no intel, no data on Ngannou. It seemed Fury was perplexed as far as the game plan once the fight wore on. And as I said, Sugar Hill maybe was giving us a prequel of things to come because, tonight Fury looked unsure of himself in many moments of the bout.
Yep. He did. He did. Guys, and to open the bout, once again, his balance looked horrific. I've never seen Tyson Fury look this bad. He did not look like an elite level talent. In fact, anyone in the top 10, in my opinion, could have beaten him soundly, knocked him out on this evening. But once again, though, you can strategize against those guys, against Francis Ngannou. I'm convinced. Now, I'll verify this with Sugar as soon as he gets back, right? But I'm convinced that he did not prepare. He did not prepare. He looked sluggish. There was no snap on his shots. His movement was terrible. He was constantly moving into the direct line of fire. Look, if Francis Ngannou, and once again, his feints, he wasn't feinting initially. And here comes the third round. Boom. An overhand left hits him on the temple area or behind the ear. And down goes Tyson Fury. Rodney, what were you thinking when you saw that, sir?
Man, I thought it was like maybe it was a joke or something, to be honest.
Boy.
But as I watched the replay, it was real because once again, when he hit him, you could see his body crumble before he went to the ground. But the shot, man, anytime you get hit along that temple area or right behind the ear, I mean, it's a recipe for a disaster. You know, it could have caused him a slight concussion, or could have caused it. I mean, who knows, man? Just neurologically, maybe it threw him off. But it doesn't absolve him as far as his performance. So, because as I said, I don't think Fury took him serious, and I think by it being a 10-round fight, Fury probably would play to his advantage, to where maybe he didn't have to train hard. His condition looked terrible, man. I mean, he was breathing through his mouth.
Horrible.
Yep. I mean, it's no way Fury, the wars I've seen him in, that he prepared this fight with the same intensity. I'll just leave it at that.
No, he did not. It was pretty obvious. He did not look elite at all. No snap on his shots. And he was, throwing wide looping shots. Ngannou seemed to be the quicker, faster man, more athletic on this night. But once again, I think, and what was quite shocking, when Tyson finally started, seemingly at the maybe the fourth, fifth, maybe fifth or sixth round, he started to find his rhythm momentarily, and even the feinting movement. Francis Ngannou wasn't biting on his feints. He wasn't earning that respect from Ngannou. Now, once again, guys, in order to get your opponent, traditionally, every coach has told me, look, in order to get someone to bite on your feints, to move when you feint, well, you got to hit him with something hard. So they respect that power. So he's looking for something coming at you. But he never once flinched. Did you notice that, Rodney?
Never did. And I think that really threw Fury off. Fury is usually the bigger man, imposes his will along with his size. And as I said, Ngannou doesn't have good footwork, but he was able to pretty much stay flat-footed and not move, and was pretty much, in striking distance of Fury all night. And based on by Fury being knocked out, being knocked down, it made him somewhat, hesitant, in my opinion, during the fight. So, as I said, I just think that he was surprised, and they didn't have no data, no intel on Ngannou, and didn't know how to attack him, because you could see that Ngannou was a novice as far as his experience on the job, but he was able to, make it a very competitive. And, when you're a puncher, and what was the theme? He has a puncher's chance. He has a puncher's chance. Okay.
Yeah, and indeed, this is indeed the heavyweight division. But I will say this disclaimer, guys, to anyone who is saying, oh, he's a novice. Well, yes and no, right? Once again, yes and no. Did you see who his trainer was all week? He's training with Dewey Cooper. Dewey Cooper is both an MMA and a boxing coach. This is a very, very good coach. He knows how to teach both skill sets. So I wasn't surprised that he actually knew how to box. I just didn't think Tyson Fury would have no answers for it. That was shocking to me. And so once again, guys, this is the problem when you don't get into fight shape, when you don't train as meticulously for your opponent. You may know what to do, but often if you're not athletically in the right shape or right frame of mind, you're not going to be able to pull the trigger. You're not going to be able to use that everything in your arsenal. And that was obvious. Tyson Fury suffered from that this evening. But midway through the fight, Rodney, shockingly enough, I had Francis Ngannou up 3 rounds to 2 with an extra point for a knockdown. So I had him up by 2 points with only 5 rounds left. And I was like, oh my gosh, Tyson Fury may indeed lose this fight. What were your thoughts at the midway point, sir?
I mean, it was a very, very close fight. I wouldn't have been up in arms if Ngannou would have got the nod, to be honest, though. It wouldn't have been a robbery. It wouldn't have been the most egregious thing. As I said, he made a good account of himself. Very surprised that, like you say, in the midway through the fight, he was leading on a lot of scorecards, including mine. I was expecting at some point Tyson would right the ship and show him who was the boss and show him that it was levels to this. Okay? It's levels to this. He never did. He never did.
He never created that separation that we usually see.
Yep. That was the most surprising thing for me because he's here. I've seen Tyson Fury kind of go through the motions when he's fight, and then all of a sudden he turns it on. He turns it on. I was waiting to see that tonight. I didn't see it. So, I mean, as I said, we can put a lot of it to his preparation. Sugar was telling him what to do. I mean, Sugar was telling him, advising him.
But he couldn't execute it.
Yeah, sometimes.
He's out of shape. He couldn't execute it. And that's the problem. It's like, so when trainers traditionally told me, guys like Ronnie Shields, guys like Emmanuel, they couldn't stand it. When someone came in just egregiously overweight into camp, they said, well, I can't teach you anything. We can't work on strategy because you're going to get discouraged. Can't spar because this is going to be a fat camp, basically. We can't prepare properly. You can't work on strategy because you're not in shape. You don't have the tools to execute it. And that's a really frustrating thing for a trainer. What are you supposed to do?
Exactly. When you're not in shape and bad enough, your focus is not there either because, when you're trying to promote an event of this magnitude, when you have to be the ambassador, you have to be the host, you have to be the salesman, you have to be everything more than just a fighter. Okay.
Yep.
You were the event. It centered around you. It was based around you. But guess what?
Still have to fight.
You have to still fight. And I think this is a classic example to where sometimes we might say, you know what? Hey, I can get away with not doing what got me here. And I think you see what happens when you take that disposition, and hope, we'll see, if Fury, in his next fight or where he goes from here or what's his mindset should be. But sometimes, man, when you become a celebrity, man, you're doing so many things. When you become a rock star and when you become internationally known and recognized, it's easy to get away from what got you here, Joseph. And I think we saw a prime example of that tonight.
Yep. And it makes Floyd Mayweather's accomplishments look that much more impressive now, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Because, handling success I tell folks, it's not always easy. It's not always easy to handle success. And
Nope.
another thing we have to start looking at too, Father Time is undefeated as well. I don't care how bad you are or what your track record has been. It's one thing that we got to all, when you start getting a certain age, Father Time is undefeated. Now,
Yep.
not to say that Fury is so long in the tooth to where he can't rebound from this, but it's something we have to just kind of keep in mind because, again, he's not a spring chicken anymore, and he's been in some wars as well.
That's right. Yep.
That's something that we can be mindful of too. So oftentimes, man, all these variables come together, and you get a performance like this. And to me, he seemed relieved just to finish the fight. To be honest, though, Joseph, in my humble opinion.
You know what? They were posturing the entire 10th round.
Yeah.
Now keep in mind we're at round number 5 right now. Round number 6, big Tyson Fury round. I thought he found his balance, thought he found his footing, started to find range. You saw that snap on that jab. He started to use the entire ring very, very fluidly. That was by far the best Tyson Fury round was number 6. Okay round in number 7, very competitive. But then round number 8, Francis Ngannou started to let his hands go, and he just battered Tyson Fury around the ring, on the ropes. That was a huge Francis Ngannou round in number 8. And with only 2 rounds left after that, I thought it was anyone's fight.
Yep. It was
your thoughts.
I mean, to me, it could have went either way. It really did. At that 8th round, you did see Ngannou be very assertive, really take the fight to Fury. And I thought, hey, it's possible that Fury could lose this, though. That was my thoughts when I was seeing, because I thought at some point, I thought that Fury would really get his arms or get a hold of the fight and really, like I say, show him that there's levels to this, though. But it just showed you, man, as each round went on, fatigue started to really set in with Fury. Now I can understand with Ngannou because he's never been at this level before, though. But I saw a tired Tyson Fury. Also, Tyson Fury is used to closing that distance and leaning on his opponent, putting his weight on him, making them tired, taking their legs away. He never did that with Ngannou.
No. I thought Ngannou actually did a very, very good job of not allowing Tyson to tie him up. Every single time he tried, he would take a step back and fire something, or he would start firing to the stomach and try those uppercuts. I was very impressed with Francis Ngannou's first performance, but with that said, Tyson Fury did not look elite. He did not even look in shape. In my opinion, I don't even think he could have beaten a top 20 fighter at this time.
Well, you know what, Joseph, man, this is one thing we need to really look at, and we have to be mindful of this. Tyson Fury has made a shitload of money. Okay.
Yep.
He's been in some wars. He's not a young pup anymore. And he has other interests besides the squared circle.
Yes,
and sometimes too, Joseph, you can grow old overnight, man. We've seen some fighters where they look good in their previous fight, come back their next fight, and they're never quite the same. Now, I don't want to cast that reality on Fury, but I'm just saying, I'm sure he made a nice paycheck tonight, a nice paycheck. And we'll see how he redeems himself, though. But the Fury I saw tonight, like you said, he'll have problems with, any top tier heavyweight, and would be in a life and death struggle with probably a top 15, a top 20 heavyweight, because his legs look terrible, condition looked terrible, breathing out of his mouth. I mean, he just looked like
everything was bad tonight. His balance was horrific.
Everything. no snap on his jab, no kind of authority.
And because his balance was bad, he had absolutely zero power.
Yeah, didn't want to close the distance like he normally would. Didn't go to the body. Saw so many uncharacteristic things from Fury that I haven't saw in quite some time, man. I don't think he's looked.
I haven't seen it ever from Tyson Fury.
Right.
Never. But I tell you what, guys, before we move forward with Fact or Fiction and talk about the event as a whole and what the significance of this is, guys, let's say hello to our dear friends in the chat, our Warwick Radio extended family. Thank you for joining us tonight, guys. And once again, if you have any questions or comments, please let them fly. Our sister, Denise Wards. Thank you for being here, sister. Hope you enjoyed the fight, and thank you for joining us in the live show. Also, my brother Tycho TV. Fury. Yeah, to say the least. In his face. Salute to you, my friend. Yahid. Rodney, can you hear me now, sir? Okay, my apologies, my friend. You know what? Maybe that's the point. Francis inspires me to go in there and fight world champions with no experience myself. Yeah, I feel like taking on the world myself. Chingao. Denise says also, yeah, Fury looked old in the ring today. Well, he looked something. He didn't look like Tyson Fury that we've ever seen in the ring. Troll Master Mike, welcome to the show, sir. He said, man, I had Francis outpointing Fury. Yeah, sure could have gone that way. Because there wasn't really all that much action in the final two rounds. Both men looked absolutely dead tired, like they could have collapsed anytime. And even though both men were visibly tired and were ready to be taken out, they just didn't have enough to do it. And in those rounds, uneventful, could have gone either way. So, yeah, I can see that as well. Yeah, here says Cap. Cap, what, that you can go out and fight world champions? I agree. Silk Sheets and age has caught up to Fury. Well, very well may have. We'll just have to wait and see. I'll tell you what, Vitaly or Lennox Lewis would not let Francis look that good in a boxing match. Look, brother, Frank Sanchez, Philip Ergovich, Dillian White, Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk, who was at ringside. Guys, even Arthur Beterbiev, if he moved up and fought Francis Ngannou, would have knocked his ass out. Guys, understand, even though Francis Ngannou has a very good boxing coach in Dewey Cooper. Yeah, that was, Rodney, was that an embarrassing look for boxing, or is that a good thing for business?
I'm going to just say this. I think you had some good and you had some bad in this event. Okay. Mm-hmm. As I said, you can look at it either with the glass half full, if you may, but I think both fighters, should take away something. And I think even for Ngannou going forth, I think that, he may come out again and fight a top tier fighter, and he may struggle because you're going to see his deficiencies now. You're going to see how he can be attacked. Indeed. So it just really depends. Anything can happen, and often it does when you have a fight, especially with two heavyweights, but it's a lot to dissect. And if I'm a betting man, I just think that Fury looked awful tonight, and that's what I didn't expect. And I don't know if it was just a thing for tonight, or is this going to be a prequel for his next upcoming fights? So, with that being said, it was the perfect storm to where what took place tonight, and it probably left a little bit more, left desired in a lot of fight fans, in my opinion.
Indeed. But we'll talk about the significance of this and what's going to be the result and a preview of 2024 a little bit later on the show, okay? Oh, boy. Let's not forget his dad bod. That is caught up, too. Well, I tell you what, that didn't look like dad bod. That looked like Jabba the Hutt. Looked like he'd been eating too many burritos.
Yeah.
Holy shnikes.
Yeah.
My word. He looked like a blob of jelly. And Tychos also says, as a boxing fan, I felt slighted. Well, and as you should. And once again, this is going to embolden. Well, we'll talk about this in a second. In Fact or Fiction, Sid UK, welcome to the show, sir. I hope you enjoyed the event. He says he didn't prepare or even go to Saudi a few weeks early to acclimate to the weather. Fury's crazy, and I think he used this fight as a workout session toward his next fight. Well, we'll find out, brother. Once again, the future holds all. The future tells all, and the truth always unfolds in the center of the ring. We'll find out in his next fight. I want to welcome Pilzer. He says, is it wrong to say that this was an embarrassment for boxing? Yeah. Well, you already got Rodney's answer. It's a class act on embarrassing yourself. Oh, boy. Also, want to welcome our brother W.A.W, Larry Liston. Welcome to the show, sir. He says, salute, Joseph. Phew. Boxing survived. Would have been embarrassed if he had lost. And he said, Larry also scored the fight. I had Fury winning 5-4, but he did win, and it wasn't no robbery. I'm assuming he means 5-4-1, right?
Right.
Round that was too close to call, scored it a draw. Close fight could have gone either way. Is that the way you saw it, Rodney? How did you end up scoring the fight after round 10?
I'm going to be honest, man. I had it a draw, to be honest, though, Joseph. I really, really did.
So I don't think 6 rounds to 4 for Tyson Fury? Oh, no, wait a minute.
For Ngannou, to be honest. I'm going to tell you why. Because in the championship rounds, and as many rounds as Fury has been in those type of rounds, man, he didn't do anything, Joseph.
No, he couldn't. No.
It just like he was a dead man walking in there. It's like he kept trying to reset and re-encourage himself. Okay, I'm going to get it together. He would throw feints, but nothing behind it. Looked very tentative and very cautious. I just believe that, Ngannou, by the knockdown, I had him slightly winning the fight. I really did.
You know what? I could have easily seen that. 5-5 with the extra point for Ngannou.
Because the eighth round, he won that one. He won
it big. He won it big. Yeah. In fact, I was teetering on giving him a 10-8 on that. Yeah. He overwhelmed Tyson Fury.
Won that one.
But he didn't have anything left in round 9 and 10.
True.
And you know what? And once again, that's in heavyweights. Yeah, a lot of times when you see him go all out in one round, trying to put his man out or put his man on the canvas, the very next round, usually he's got to suck wind and he usually doesn't have as much left. But look, I was very impressed with Francis Ngannou, this being his first professional fight against the WBC heavyweight champion. Gallant effort, and we talked about that leading into this, that, hey, you know what? There's one guy who doesn't believe he can't lose or doesn't believe he can lose, and he's not listening to all of that other nonsense. And you could tell he trained for it meticulously. A very good trainer. And guys, once again, Mike Tyson, he was in the gym with him, but Dewey Cooper did everything. And he's an excellent trainer, guys, both MMA and prize fighting and boxing. So I'll tell you what. Let's go. Hey, what's up, Dex? How you doing, my friend? Hy-Vee, welcome to the show, sir. He says, Joseph, everyone I've spoken to feels Tyson received a gift. Does this hurt boxing? That's a perfect segue, Hy-Vee, into our next fact or fiction. Are you ready, my friend?
Go ahead.
Here it goes, Rodney. A fact or fiction: as a result of Ngannou's split decision performance, we will see more crossover events in 2024, generating more mainstream fans for boxing. Fact or fiction?
Fact. This was a prequel of things to expect and things what it's going to look like in the future. I think you're going to start to see a fusion. I predicted this a few weeks ago in our show, or even maybe last Wednesday or Thursday. I said that you can start to expect this because at the end of the day, the total event, I think, was a success as far as everything leading up to it. It's just that we didn't expect what we saw in the ring tonight. But on the flip side, though, I think going forward, if any boxer is going to take a MMA fighter lightly, that's not going to be the case. I think, from here on out, with these kind of events, I think fighters are going to take them a lot more serious and everything, something Tyson didn't do. So with that being said, I think, tonight it would have been great if Fury would have, made a better effort or account. But I still think long term, it's a lot of positives that happened tonight. And look for, like you say, in 2024 to see more of these events in the upcoming future.
Yeah, guys, look, promoters always like to put themselves in a win-win situation, regardless of what happens in the ring. And in this event, okay, if Tyson Fury comes out and sparks out Francis Ngannou and looks razor sharp, boom, that builds a great fight against Alexander Usyk and on December 23rd. If he struggles like he did tonight, well, then guess what? That paves the way for more big-time mainstream crossover events. Guys, Bob Arum and Frank Warren, they're two Hall of Fame promoters for a reason. And on this stage, with the production value, the majesty of the event, all of the stars on display, yeah, they couldn't lose. They couldn't lose. You're going to see more big-time events, more crossover events in Saudi Arabia, guys. This is the future capital of prize fighting. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia was fantastic this weekend, guys. Rodney, you saw all of the stars representing boxing's rich lineage, something UFC doesn't have. Boxing's royalty, as well as the current stars. But some were missing, weren't they? Who didn't we see in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia this weekend?
We didn't see no PBC fighters, that's for sure.
None.
We
no Floyd, no Deontay Wilder, no Canelo Alvarez, no Floyd Mayweather, no Tank Davis, no one. And who else didn't we see? We didn't see any Matchroom Sport fighters either.
Absolutely.
No Anthony Joshua. He's in a dark cave somewhere in solitary confinement by choice. Yeah. What does this mean, Rodney?
I think, or I believe, my motto with business has always been business is built on relationships. And what we saw this weekend was an alliance and relationships really being built and broken. Okay. Yep. We saw that. And those who wasn't there, it spoke volumes. I think those who wasn't there, it wasn't by coincidence. Okay.
That's right.
It's kind of like, when you're not invited somewhere to a party, take it for what it is. They didn't want you there. They didn't want your presence there. And I think it's going to speak volumes in 2024 because, like I say, Frank Warren has found a home. I think Top Rank has found a home. I think they have the rosters, they have the fighters, and I think they have the relationships now to where 2024 looks bright for them, and they're willing to adjust their business model, which is so
Yep.
important, man, because see, oftentimes, man, you're not willing to adjust with the times. And I think we saw that this weekend, even with, we had a huge boxing lineage that represented, but you had some MMA fighters like Chuck Liddell came out,
That's right. Good to see him. Yep.
Yeah. Conor McGregor. So
Yep.
it all goes hand in hand. It meshed really well. And as I said, this is a preview for things to come.
Yeah, guys, understand this. This is a necessary progression in our beloved boxing, especially because the U.S. market, well, it's dwindling. Once again, without Canelo, without events like Tank Ryan, look, Showtime exiting the business. Guys, this is unnecessary, especially with, I hate to say this, but especially with the overwhelming majority of diehard fans streaming, stealing everything. Yeah, they have no choice but to incorporate and try to put forth a more attractive package to appeal to a larger mainstream money spending demographic. This was unavoidable, guys, and this was planned. You're going to see more of these events. Understand now why we're seeing these. It's not because the best aren't fighting the best. It's because, piracy. Piracy is by far the worst problem, the biggest problem facing the business today. So this was a necessary progression for boxing. And first event, did it get a big A+, or were there too many? What would you give this event if you had to give it a letter grade, Rodney?
I would give it a B+. I would, I would give it a B+ because it's so many things to take away from it. As I said, the main event didn't really live up to the hype, and I get that. I get that. But if you go back to our broadcast Wednesday when we had it, or Thursday when we had it, I said focus not so much on inside the ring, but outside the ring. And based on everything that happened outside the ring, it worked like a charm, Joseph. It worked like a charm. You're going to always, one thing about matchups, I don't care where you are. You can be in Saudi Arabia. You can be in Vegas. You can be in Brooklyn, the Barclays Center. It's not going to always go as planned. That's just,
absolutely right.
It doesn't matter what setting. But if you look at the production, if you look at all the luminary figures, if you look at the merge of entertainment, boxing, MMA, the focus on combat sports, man, it worked like a dream in my opinion. And I would give it a B+. And I think they're going to learn from this. And I believe it's only going to get better in my opinion, Joseph. I really do.
I concur, sir. And once again, there were some production flaws and, those absurd long intermissions. But once again, you said it. This was the first big event, and they will tweak it. I would like to see, possibly, can we look forward to maybe Baturvia Beeville next year on the co-main event of one of these events? One of these huge events.
Absolutely. Because even though a lot of folks are having some problems with the undercard, you did get some knockouts. You did get some stoppages. You did get, you did get some a form of entertainment, some oohs, some ahs. I would love to see Benavides and Arthur. In a co-main event, like you say, I don't think you could get the support for Bivol and Benavides in the main event. A co-main event, depending on who is the top draw, but I think that'll be a great co-main event. I'm curious to see, as I said, what's going to happen in the next fight because Top Rank has a deep roster. Golden Boy, Oscar was there too. Don't forget
Oscar
about
was there too.
Don't forget about. So we got some options. As I said, let's kind of let the dominoes fall. Let's give it a few days, and we'll start to see, because we still have a fight supposedly for December 23rd, but I don't know again what kind of condition or shape Fury's in, because that's only like 6 weeks away. Okay.
Yep.
And he
7. Yeah.
Yeah, and he didn't totally go out of this fight totally unscathed, though. He got knocked down. He had a few bumps and bruises. So we'll see what to make of the future, I would say, in the next like 7-10 days when we let the promoter speak and see where we go from here. But nevertheless, though, I think all in all, it wasn't perfect, but it wasn't a flop by no means, sir.
No, and I think it will prove, when the numbers come out, it will prove to do very well on pay-per-view around the world. We'll see how well it does in the American markets. Guys, I will give you those numbers as soon as I receive them, possibly on Monday. Okay? But on the undercard, Fabio Wardley, he surprisingly gets the TKO over David Adley. Joseph Parker smashes Simon Keane. Oh, and the fluffy Martin Bacoli makes light work of the veteran Carlos Takam. I think that's about it for Carlos. You've served your purpose, brother. You've done a great job. Crafty, wily veteran. But yeah, it's time. It's time to hang up the gloves, brother. Also, Arslanbek Makhmudov, no low blows in this fight. Makes light work of Junior Wright. Also, Jack McCann got the TKO over Duran. That was surprising. Moses Itama also gets the TKO over Bernath, and that rounds out your card. Let's go back to the main event, though, brother. Post-fight, were you a bit surprised that Tyson Fury did not announce and call out? Well, he didn't make the big announcement of the Usyk fight happening on 23rd. Do you think they're going to push it back and give Fury more time to prepare?
Yep. Yes. I mean, Tyson Fury is a pride man. Now, again, it's not the first time he's come in a fight out of shape. It's not the first time that he wasn't really on his A game. But I think he knows, man, with a world-class opposition, someone that knows how to place his punches, throw punches, that's going to be in shape, okay, that is going to be at the top of his condition. He has to get himself in better fighting shape and condition. It's no way, in my opinion, it would be foolish for him to take a fight the way he looked in less than 6 or 7 weeks. It makes no sense, though, Joseph. It really doesn't, And there's too many distractions. We're heading into the holiday season as well. He would have to really regain his focus, man, to really make a better account for himself. So I'm not surprised that he didn't go in the middle of the ring and announce the fight, because normally that's what he does. I mean, that would have been ideal for him to do that. But he knows deep down that, you know what, he has some work to do.
A lot of work to do. We'll get into that in a second. Let's finish saying hello to our dear friends in the chat. Anthony Manzano, welcome to the show, my friend. People forget Tyson Fury hasn't fought. No. He 11 months. He hasn't fought since Derek Chisora in December of last year, sir. 10 months? 11? Something like that.
Yeah, around 11 months.
And Sid UK also says, handling success is very hard. To stay hungry with a full fridge takes a strong mindset to do that. Yes, sir, it does. And, weaker or stronger men than Tyson, maybe stronger-minded men than Tyson, have had that same difficulty. Guys, it's very difficult. I can't even imagine staying hungry with that kind of money in my bank account. Can you, Rodney?
Man, it's easier said than done. Easier, and then again, Fury is not a young pup anymore, gentlemen.
No.
Anytime you start having other interests and you start becoming a reality TV star, you got reality show, you want to get into movies, you want to do this, do that. Well, it's going to start to reflect in the ring, and I think we saw that in this preparation.
Guys, keep in mind, guys, what happened to Lennox Lewis in the fight right after he filmed Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
He got knocked out in South Africa by Hassim Rahman.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, though, that was a legitimate contender, Rodney. That was a top 10 guy. He was his mandatory challenger. He beat Corey Sanders to get that Lennox Lewis fight. We're talking about Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
Oh boy. You know what, guys? Yeah. Woo. Jeez. Invisible Man, welcome to the show. Give Francis credit. Yes, sir. I already did on this show.
Yeah.
Once again, I thought Coach Dewey Cooper. Once again, people don't realize Dewey Cooper is a boxing coach also. He trains many prize fighters in boxing, but he has a very good MMA roster as well. He does both. So I wasn't surprised when he had some skill. I just was surprised that Tyson Fury had no answers tonight. None. Zero.
Well,
Go ahead, sir.
The surprising thing is he couldn't pull the trigger. Okay.
Yep.
And even when you start to see a fighter, when he can't pull the trigger no more like he used to, that's not a good look, man. That's not a good look. And I saw that tonight. Now, again, one thing that Francis did, he made him respect his power early. And see, that's one of the things that you do to a bully. And Fury is known to overpower, lean on his opponents, always be the bigger man, be the imposing figure. Well, he found out early tonight, man, this dude power is the real deal. It really is, the hype is real as far as his power. And to me, Fury, after that knockdown, he was never quite the same. And it was on full display tonight because his condition wasn't there. Didn't want to pull the trigger, very tentative, unsure of himself.
Yep.
You can say he was unsure of himself because he kept pulling his trucks up. I mean, he was out of sort the whole night. So yes, we do give Francis his props though. But it's going to be interesting for Francis too because now we have some data on Mr. Francis, and we'll see what his success rate will be going forward.
That is a very good. Those are all great points, Rodney. Bravo. Well said, brother. Evander Holyfield, welcome to the show, sir. He says, heavyweight division has been weak for so many years. Fury has simply been in an easier era. He got it to, well, come on, brother. Weak compared to what era? The 90s? Of course, any era is weak compared to the 90s except the 70s. Guys, heavyweight division is usually top heavy. But when you look at this era, you can't say it's weak. Alexander Usyk, Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, Dillian White, Andy Ruiz, Vladimir Klitschko to start his reign as heavyweight champion. What? Is that weak to you, Rodney?
No, very impressive Hall of Fame fighters. But I will say sometimes when a fighter is bigger and stronger than everybody else, right?
Yep.
You can get away with your flaws and deficiencies though. But when you can't impose your size, and as I pointed out to Joseph, man, if you watch Fury fights, he's used to wearing you down as the rounds go along. He leans on you. You become fatigued. He gets stronger.
Yep.
Well, that didn't happen tonight.
Guys, understand, guys. When you're well conditioned, that's why Sean Porter never got knocked out until he faced Terrence Crawford, because that guy stayed in the gym, always got the most of himself. So even when he got hurt and knocked down, he quickly recovered. Rodney made a very good point earlier. He was so out of shape. He doesn't think he was fully recovered after the knockdown. I agree with him, because when you're out of shape, you don't recover quickly. That's why fighters train so meticulously in the gym, so they can handle and deal with adversity. Because not only when you're hurt and when you're tired, sucking wind, Tyson was doing both. Yep. It's very hard to think in that ring.
Yeah, and let me just highlight one more thing to our listeners as well. let's be mindful, man. Not only did Fury had to fight that most considered one of the hardest punchers, whether it's boxing or MMA, or I mean, this dude was he was tough, but he had to be an ambassador for the past 7-10 days where he promoted the event. He was the star. Everything was focused around him. It's no way he could have been totally dialed in with this type of responsibility. And this takes nothing away from Francis. But I'm just saying, Fury is not the type of fighter that at this stage of his career to where he can not totally be tuned in and do everything else except for train at a high level and still expect to see a quality performance in the ring. So, man, you had a lot of things that came together tonight, and unfortunately, it wasn't the best account of Tyson Fury.
Yep, that's it. That's it, guys. Well, our very dear friend, Big Luke from New York. Welcome to the show, sir. Rematch? God, I hope not. You would only see a rematch if Tyson Fury lost. Once again, he doesn't have a rematch clause, Francis Ngannou. The only one that had a rematch clause in this contract was Tyson Fury. Nope. But thank you, sir. Thank you for joining Rodney and myself tonight. God bless you too, my friend. Let's see. Brian, welcome to the show, sir. Some people had Francis winning. Those who actually know about combat sports. Look, brother, if you actually know how a fight is scored, there were so many uneventful swing rounds in that fight. You could have easily scored them either way. Understand the scoring criteria. Once again, rounds are scored. Your primary scoring criteria: clean, effective, and consequential punching. Could you clearly see who the winner was on a handful of those rounds? No, they could have gone either way. That's how a fight is scored. So now you know something about how combat sports are scored. And there it is. And Denise also says, draw is a fairness assessment. Yep, it sure is. Sure is. I could have easily seen it being scored a split draw. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Low clarity. Welcome to the show, sir. Let's go ahead and move along, guys, because we have still a lot of fact or fiction, including, guys, what's coming up for both men after this. Guys, I will get to everyone at the tail end of the show, sir. We do have a lot to take care of still. Here it is. Here's the future. Fact or fiction, Rodney? Alexander Usyk will indeed capture the WBC title by way of late round stoppage over Tyson Fury in 2024. Fact or fiction?
Fiction. They won't fight in December 23rd. It's no way a season.
No. I changed it to 2024. Yeah.
I see. You know what? Let's be honest too, man. Joseph Usyk didn't look that good in his last fight, to be honest, in my opinion. Okay. He did beat was that Dubois?
Yeah, Daniel Dubois. Yes, sir.
He did beat him, but he could have easily got knocked out with the body shot because I didn't see that as a low blow.
I didn't either.
he did come on and handle his business, but guys, we never know what's going to happen. But I think Fury is a proud man. He's a proud fighter, and I think he's going to get himself in shape, and I think he's going to make a better account of himself when he fights Usyk. So I'm going to say fiction, sir.
Very, very good. I tell you what, he had better get motivated for this. If he doesn't, well, it might turn out to be fact. We will see, guys. And once again, guys, understand this. In the past, Tyson Fury, this is why Deontay Wilder was so heavily favored going into the rematch with Tyson Fury. Right? Now, keep in mind, the previous fights for both men going into that rematch, Deontay Wilder had just starched Luis Ortiz in the 7th round, right? Looked great. Now, once again, I had Luis Ortiz winning that fight, and then he changed everything with that beautiful right hand, set it up perfectly, and that was that. And Tyson Fury struggled, had a controversial victory over Otto Wallin with that nasty gash. How did the rematch play out, Rodney?
Man, like I said, man, you got a different version of Tyson Fury. But let's just say this, though, man. I think sometimes, Joseph, what we don't understand with these fighters, that everyone is not going to be prepared or keep themselves in shape like a Bernard Hopkins or like some of the a Tim Bradley or, like you say, a Sean Porter. They're not. One thing about Tyson Fury, man, we can never say he's been totally dedicated to the sport. Okay. And when you look at his career and you really put some thought into it, I'm not totally surprised by what happened tonight, though. I'm really not. You know what I'm saying? Yes. When he fought Deontay Wilder, a lot of folks was favoring Deontay. I favored Fury because, you know what? I felt like at that point he had something to prove because he was fighting in America and he had an incentive, though. He wanted to show the American people who he really was. He ended up moving to Vegas. He really wanted to make a statement to the American people that he was the best heavyweight. For whatever reason tonight, he just thought that he could just show up. And like I said, it didn't work out well for him. But I just want to say, give Francis his credit. It's no indictment on him. For his first fight, he did very well and exceeded my expectations, to be honest.
Indeed. Now, keep this in mind, guys, also. Now, Rodney, all those points were great and right on point. But think about this. When he moved to Vegas before the rematch, he hadn't quite hit the jackpot yet. True. He didn't have the reality show, didn't receive all of those huge multi-million-dollar purses. Yeah, it changes when you make all that money and move into that mansion.
Yeah, I mean,
so we'll see, guys. Now, Rodney, your final thoughts on that, sir?
My final thoughts is judge slowly. Let's not say Fury is trash. Let's not say he's washed up. Let's not say Ngannou is going to be the next heavyweight champion of the world. It's a fight by fight basis. Both men made a lot of money. I'm happy for Ngannou. The money he made is life-changing money, and props to him. He made a good account of himself. And let's not write off Tyson Fury as well, though. So we'll see where both guys go from here.
Yeah, I tell you what, a lot of questions. And keep in mind, guys, there is boxing, and then there's heavyweight boxing. Guys, that truly is a theater of the unexpected. Let's just wait and see what happens, guys. Once again, the future, the truth is always revealed in the center of the ring. Let's just wait what happens. Wait and see what happens. Now look at Francis Ngannou now. Anthony Joshua, fact or fiction, Rodney? Anthony Joshua will KO Francis Ngannou next year at Wembley Stadium.
Fiction. I believe once a fighter like Anthony Joshua, who, in my opinion, has never been the same since he fought Ruiz, I don't see the changes that Derek James has really made. And it appears that he's having mental health issues now, too. It appears that he's just not in the right place psychologically. Inactivity kills a fighter. And I tell you what, if Francis hits Joshua like he hit Fury, I don't even know if Joshua even gets up, though. So I'm going to say fiction. I mean, maybe the old Anthony Joshua 6 years ago, before he fought Ruiz, I would be more inclined to say fact. But at this point at the career, Joshua career, too many unknown factors. So I'm going to go ahead and go with fiction, Joseph.
Indeed, brother. We'll see what happens, guys. Now, once again, to support Rodney's point in Anthony Joshua's confidence level. Yeah, he is right now this weekend in solitary confinement, pitch black, alone with himself. Why? Yeah, questions. And here it is. Let's see. Let's go back to Alexander Usyk for a second. In my opinion, Rodney, he had better come in 30 pounds lighter, at least 20 pounds lighter for Alexander Usyk. And he had better create some distance between this fight and Alexander Usyk. He needs to stay in shape. He needs to have a real camp between 8 and 12 weeks. Oh, my word. Because that lateral movement from Usyk, the disjunct switch hitting prowess, the speed, the footwork, that is going to be a nightmare if he's not in shape, Rodney. He had better get into shape. I'm sorry. Alexander Usyk is a machine. And yes, he hasn't. You can tell, he's getting a little long in the tooth. He is susceptible to those body shots. But, yeah, the style is going to be horrific if Tyson does not get the most of himself in the gym. Those are my thoughts, sir.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the unknown factor. Is Fury going to be prideful and just say, you know what, man, I'm going to fight for my people. I'm going to put my best foot forward. I'm fighting for my name. I'm fighting for my legacy. Or I've proven myself. I'm a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm going to make another 20, 25 million. And guess what? I'm going to go back home and be with my family. We don't know. We don't know. And we don't know if Fury has grown overnight. We don't know if he can pull the trigger no more. But based on the night, if he fights Usyk, I would have to agree with you.
Yeah.
But can Sugar get some more out that well? Can he be a resonating voice and bring him back to reality with everything that he got going on? Because once again, you start getting those zeros in your bank account, Joseph, it changes your mindset. Trust me.
Yep.
It changes your mindset because at the end of the day, you signed up to take care of your family, to make money, to change your life. He's done that. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He is long in the tooth. I ain't gonna say long in the tooth, but he's been around a while. He's been in some wars. He may not. We don't know, but based on the night,
Yep.
it didn't look good from what I saw. He looked like dog shit. Okay.
Yep. Well, yeah, he did. He did. There's no denying that. And once again, we've seen him look questionable. Not the best version of Tyson Fury. Come back and look absolutely razor sharp, knocking out Deontay Wilder, handed him his first loss. But once again, he didn't have all those zeros in his bank account yet. And
let's not minimize the pressure that he had to do to sell this event. When you have a fighter and Joseph, during fight week, you have laser focus. What you're doing, you have a routine. You're not out there being a host, being an ambassador, speaking to everybody, taking pics. You have a routine, and this is not a normal routine for Fury. Okay.
Nope.
And it shows. So let's not minimize what effort and energy he had to do to help sell this event to the masses as well.
Is the demand greater, Rodney, to see Usyk Fury, or did it, dampen a bit? Your thoughts?
It may have dampened a little bit. Again, they're gonna have to put a little bit more work into it to really make it a extravagant event. But I think the venue they have now, the support, I don't think it's going to be a tough sell to the public. I think Fury is going to have to just let them know, I have to really train. I can't be in 2-3 places at once, then try to focus, then try to train, then take pics with the king. And he had so much on his plate. He's going to have to dial in and everything. And someone else is going to have to sell the event to the masses.
We'll see. We'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what the future holds, but make no mistake. Right now, December 23rd looks doubtful, but the contract is indeed signed. More than likely, you're going to see probably the final week in January or sometime in February, sometime before March Madness, right? Let's move on, sir. Let's move on, guys. And once again, the event was fantastic, guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys bought it. Amazing star-studded event. We'll look forward to the next one in Saudi Arabia. Fact or fiction, Rodney? To start 2024, Al Haymon and PBC will still be without a consistent mainstream platform.
Fact.
Oh, boy.
Fact. I think Al Haymon has been very successful as landing with another platform after he's failed miserably on some of his previous platforms. You know, they've rolled out the red carpet. They've given him money enough, I mean, man, to where it can fill up heaven. But I think going forth, the word is out. And it spoke volumes that it wasn't one PBC representative in Saudi Arabia this weekend. And not even the Watson twins, not even Sam. I mean, you know, we all know Haymon doesn't show up, but it was no Sam Watson. It was no Canelo. It was no Watson twins.
No Floyd.
No Mayweather. That speaks volumes.
Yep.
That tells me,
Deontay Wilder.
No Deontay Wilder. That tells me that the powers that be, the one that really pulled the strings for this event this weekend, that they have no desire to work with Mr. Haymon, in my humble opinion. And I also believe a lot of networks, the word is out. Everybody's saying it's a given that he's going to find a home with Amazon. Really?
Nope. No, they've already declined.
What makes you think that? Okay, you know, so I think they're in trouble. They're in trouble. The only chance they have is the zone. But even with it, I don't think they're going to let Al be and have creative control. And that's going to be a huge issue. That's going to be a huge, huge issue. So don't be surprised that that after November, it really starts to get interesting, because that's the last fight PBC had.
Well, actually, there was one now scheduled on the same day as Haney Prograis, and that's Keith Thurman versus Amantas Staniones, the last Showtime pay-per-view.
Okay,
Danny Garcia, Erislandy Lotta in the co-main event. Oh boy.
Okay, so is this the one? Is this the one supposedly Floyd Mayweather supposed to fight Mikey Garcia?
You know what? I don't know. That's
Okay.
the one that's been rumored. Yeah, but I don't think it's going to happen, sir.
Okay, so yeah, so after December, this will be the last one, and that it appears this one's going to maybe flop. Okay, just because it doesn't seem too appealing, like Benavidez and Andre, and that's the worst thing that can happen, in my opinion, when you get ready to go in to the new year. And you're trying to audition to a new network. So, fact, they won't have a consistent mainstream platform, and look forward first part of the year for things to get very, very interesting with PBC and the restlessness of their fight stable.
Guys, understand this, and I agree with Rodney. Understand this, guys. This isn't the first time a network executive, has not been willing to negotiate with Al Haymon. Back in the day, HBO, when they were headed by Ken Hirschman, right? He said, you know what? I'm never going to allow, as long as I'm here, I will never allow another Al Haymon fighter to compete on HBO. And you remember, they were consistently, they all had to migrate over to Showtime.
Yep.
And when asked, he said, well, you know what? Put it this way. I refuse to negotiate with terrorists. That's what Ken Hirschman said.
Wow.
He wants complete control. He wants everything his way. and he's a very smart man. He's a very shrewd negotiator, and it's very hard to impose your will on a guy like Al Haymon. So, yeah, I agree with you. Everyone has had enough, Rodney. Everyone has had enough.
Yep.
And there it is. Yep.
Yep. And if I would encourage the listeners, if you go back to our previous shows in the last week or so on Wednesday in Rob We Trust, you'll see how we spoke on this, and it appears to be coming to fruition. It really does. Based on what we saw this past weekend, yes, it appears that they're going to be without a home.
Yeah, and based on what our brother Rick Glazier just told us, right? You'll hear him state this on Monday. The word is out. Everyone, every big major mainstream platform, Netflix, Amazon Prime, no one is willing to give Al Haymon what he's had, complete control with a lot of TV dates and a multi-million-dollar guarantee for those TV dates to guarantee those verses. No one is willing to do it at this time. That's a big problem for all of the PBC fighters right now, including Tank Davis, Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, big problems. Big problems, guys.
Deontay Wilder.
Yep. Well, Al already said, hey, you're a free agent. Once again, I'm still your advisor, but if you want to go out and find your nugget, do it. Now, this is a problem for Deontay. Here it is. Fact or fiction, sir? This time next year, Deontay Wilder will still be without a fight because he wants too much money without a major world title and a dwindling fan base. Fact or fiction, sir?
I'm going to say fiction, and let me tell you why, Joseph.
Yes, sir.
At some point, when you're not gaining or making money, you know what you're doing? You're losing money. You're losing money monthly.
Yep. Spending it.
Expenses. Okay. Upkeep. At some point, I think he's going to have to bend and concede to say, you know what? I got to do something. The days I had with Al Haymon are gone. The days I had where I would make these double-digit paydays, no longer. That's not going to happen. Okay, so I'm going to have to some point swallow my pride. And oftentimes, man, these fighters have pride and ego to prevent them to making shrewd business decisions. But if one thing that he should notice, and he's watched the fights this weekend, life goes on. Life goes on without you. They don't need you. You're not bigger than the sport. I'm sorry. So if he's a smart man and he saw what happened, and hey, now we have the heavyweight division has a new fighter now that can put asses in the seats, and that's Francis. Francis made a good account of himself, so he's going to be in the mix now to fight. So Deontay better make a decision to where he's going to say, okay, if I don't concede on some of my wishes, I'm going to be left out in the cold. But I believe that, man, at some point he's going to budge, and I look to see Deontay fighting in 2024, Joseph. I really do.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to, if he wants to get back in that ring, be humble himself and, well, accept the more meager purse. Once again, guys, it was after Tyson won. He ballooned in popularity. He was a rock star after that when he won the rematch. Not Deontay. He was still one of the top earners for Al Haymon, but yeah, after those two knockout losses to Tyson Fury, his market value didn't soar like his opponents. That's a big problem for Deontay Wilder moving forward. He has to be more reasonable, or else he will not get a big fight. That's it. And Sid UK has a comment on the Al Haymon dilemma. He says, well, no platform should give a promoter complete control. It ruins boxing long term. It does. Go away, Haymon, and stick to picking up Ladyboy. I hear Thailand is calling you, Alan. Boxing is bigger than any promoter. Indeed.
Yeah.
Very well said, my man. Very well said. I love Sid UK's comments. Trollmaster Mike says, I think Wilder versus Francis is now a possible big money fight. In America, as long as the UFC faithful turn up, sure, I think it is. And I think it's even bigger in Saudi Arabia, obviously. Yeah. But, Rodney, do you think Saudis jump on that fight?
I believe so. And let me tell you why. Ngannou, Francis has validated himself somewhat because you know what? If they can say, look, if he did this in his first fight, okay, with the guy who beat Wilder 3 times, then guess what? We can see the possibility of it being a very, very competitive fight. Now, the thing is, you can say what you want about Tyson Fury, but he knows how to sell a product, a fight, an event. Deontay Wilder doesn't have that capacity. He doesn't have that ability, in my opinion. Yep. He doesn't bring the masses together.
Yep.
But maybe they don't need that with it being their second go around at this to where they really have to have all hands on deck to make it work. But once again, what is Deontay willing to accept? Because in my opinion, Francis will be the A side definitely when it comes to purse, and I don't know how he would really, really take that coming from a guy who only his second fight as a fighter or being in the heavyweight division.
Look, I stated this after the third fight with Deontay Wilder. Once again, in those 2 fights with Tyson Fury, the last 2, he made a grand total of $45 million. I said, you know what? He might as well stay retired because he's not going to even come close to getting that subsequently. And he hasn't, and that's what he's looking for. That's why he's been largely inactive, guys. That's it. So we'll see what happens. He's going to have to humble himself if he still wants to be a participant in the big fights. That's it. Yahadir, hey, he says Gems is live. Yes, I will be migrating over there in about, as soon as this show's finished. I tell you what, though, man, it's been an amazing weekend, and we still have some fights left, guys. Rodney, we were going to have a brief preview of the November 25th pay-per-view, but we'll save that for Wednesday night. Agreed?
Agreed, sir.
Very, very good. So that's just about it then. Your parting shots, and let's put a bow on this event or what we just saw, brother. Make sense of it to us, my friend.
Well, I think if nothing else, we saw what the future looks like. We saw the new home for sports and entertainment. I think we learned a lot, and I think we need to get used to it in America that, you know what, it's a new Vegas in town. Boxing in America is on the decline, and it appears that in Saudi Arabia it's going to be on the uptick. And look for more future fights to happen in the very near future. If I had to give it a grade, I would give it a B+. Again, it wasn't perfect, but I'm optimistic that going forth that it's only going to get better, sir.
Yeah, you know what, guys, and once again, Rodney has the beats. He called this. He said, Leah, you're going to see this start a trend. And boy, it sure looks that way. You're going to see with Francis Ngannou's success, even though he didn't get the victory, he did very well, very, very well, and it was razor thin, the decision. Could have gone either way, in my opinion. Same with Rodney. This is going to result. And this is what they plan for, guys. This is going to result in many more crossover events between boxing's brightest as well as MMA's. That's it, guys. Get used to it because, once again, it draws a larger mainstream money-spending audience to our beloved boxing. Win-win, right? And that's going to just about do it, guys. On behalf of the incomparable Rodney Green, I'm Joseph Herron. You've been listening to Warwick Radio. brought to you by Rod Vachon Holdings. Thank you, Rod Vachon Holdings. We appreciate you believing in the show. God bless you guys. And I tell you what, stay tuned. And guys, support your beloved boxing. Not just tune in illegally. Support it financially, guys. We'll speak to you very soon. We've got James Gogi coming up on Sunday. And guys, we've got Rick Glazier coming up on Monday. Ronnie Shields on Tuesday, and then it's in Rod We Trust once again every Wednesday night. God bless all of you, and have a great evening, everybody.
Rod Vachon Holdings proudly presents War Week Radio Chats with ring announcer Joseph Herring.